constellations, I'm mapping the stars. Wallets full of dreams, I'm stacking the bars. Digits dance, decimals do the samba. Market's a jungle, I'm Tarzan in the drama. Blockchain spinning, a digital parade. I'm the tour guide through the mess we wade. Hodl or fold, the question burns. In this game of risk, the tables turn. Good morning, crypto, I light up the haze, guiding the lost through these crypto waves. From FOMO to fortune, I'm paving the ways. BC Port Corp, your lighthouse ablaze. Bull stampede, bears in hibernation. I'm the translator for the strange equation. Ether rising, Bitcoin flexing, altcoins whisper, I'm here dissecting. Rug pulls lurking, shadows in the mist. I see the red flags, they don't make my list. Whales making splashes, minnows feel the quake, but I'm the steady hand when the markets shake. I'm the translator for the strange equation. Ether rising, Bitcoin flexing, altcoins whisper, I'm here dissecting. Rug pulls lurking, shadows in the mist. I see the red flags, they don't make my list. Whales making splashes, minnows feel the quake, but I'm the steady hand when the markets shake. Ablaze.
Step 1, wake up early, go ride the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got several headlines. I saw some news about a Boeing strike, so we're going to dive into that one. I also saw a little bit of some hopium on the dollar after we saw some terrible data last week and an increased chance for a rate cut. But we'll get into that one in a second because we're already starting to see that decrease. And I saw some other big news from Cathie Woods throwing some more money into that Coinbase stock. But before we get into all of that, let's dive on in, get you prepped for some success today, because you know what I got pulled up in the background. It's that stock heat map. We did see quite a bit of red on our close last week. You know, markets were not overly happy about some of that data that we had got, and we saw a massive sell-off. We are seeing just a little bit of some buying pressure stepping on this morning, but it's not anything close to taking away some of those losses that we had seen on Friday. Let's dive on into this one. We've got Apple sitting down 2.5% from its close, looking to the upside 0.83%. We've got Nvidia down 2.33%, looking to the upside this morning 1.08%. Berkshire Hathaway sitting in the green off of its close, up 0.2% and down 0.43% this morning. Amazon, one of those stocks that got hit extremely hard on Friday, down 8.27%. Looking to the upside this morning, 1.66% so far. We've got Eli Lilly, was in the green off of its close, 3.01%, and continuing on some of that buying pressure this morning, up 0.77. We've got ExxonMobil down 1.79, looking a little bit towards the upside this morning, up 0.11. Tesla, also one of those stocks that was sitting in the red, down 1.83%, up 1.04% this morning so far. P&G was sitting in the green off of its close, was quite neutral though, up 0.12, continuing on some of that buying pressure this morning, up 0.25. We've got Microsoft down 1.76 off of its close, seeing a little bit of buying pressure stepping on in, up 0.81 so far. Google also sitting in the red off of its close, down 1.51%, looking towards the upside this morning, 0.84% so far. We've got Meta, also one of those stocks that closed in the red, 3.03%, looking towards the upside this morning, 1.1% so far. We will kind of have to see if we can get some continuations into this morning. We don't have any heavy data to really push things in one direction or the other, but to see a little bit of some buying pressure stepping on in after a massive sell-off is not too unexpected. We are looking at that crypto side of things now. We are looking extremely green on a lot of these dailies. We've got a few outliers, but we'll get into that in just a second. We've got Bitcoin sitting up 0.6 on the daily, Ethereum up 2.5. We've got XRP up 4.8%, starting to see some red on this hourly though. BNB up 1.5%, Solana up 1.1%, we've got Tron up 0.09%, Dogecoin up 2.6%, we've got Cardano up 2%, we've got Stellar Lumens moving up 2 positions in that market cap, taking a spot from Hyperliquid and SWI as it sits up 8.7%. We've got Hyperliquid down 1.8% and SWI sitting up 0.5%. Chainlink also looking towards the upside, 3.5%. Bitcoin Cash up on the daily and the hourly, sitting up 2.9% on that daily. HBAR up 4.1%. We've got Avalanche up 3.4%. TON sitting in the red, down 2.7%. And Litecoin, to wrap out that top 20, sitting up 2.8% right now. Hopping over to those fear and greeds, we're seeing something not too unexpected here. After a massive sell-off in your stock market on Friday, we are sitting down in that neutral range, sitting at 55, so very, very close to getting back into some greed. Crypto side of things, sitting in some greed, up 11 points from the weekend, sitting back at 64. Just that light greed area. We will kind of have to see if we can get some continued upside back to the top of our fair value gap that we finally closed at the end of market day Friday, and then push ourselves to the upside of that. Let's hop over to that liquidation heat map because we're seeing liquidity on both sides of us. Not too unexpected after some very volatile moves to the downside. We've got liquidity towards the top side, up at the top side of that fair value gap, coming in at 115,700 for the top side. That bottom side sitting at $113,000 and all the way down to $112,750. nifty. We'll kind of have to see what kind of bouncing we get towards the top side and see if we rejected some of those key levels we had been hammering out last week. If we do get some rejections on that top side, looking for a continued bottom side liquidity grab would not be too unexpected. We actually didn't end up retesting that all-time high, so that is still open for a retest. Taking a look at this 3-day here, looking quite similar to that top side liquidity on the daily, with that liquidity directly towards the upside of us. Looking at that $115,000 mark. Zooming on out a little bit further, take a look at this 1 week, because that 1 week has that liquidity all the way back up at that $120,000 mark. Bottom side coming in with the most liquidity at that $119,400 and ranging all the way up to that $120,000 mark. Let's get this zoomed on out a little bit further here. Take a look at that 1 month. 1 month looking very nice for a pump towards the upside as well, with that liquidity residing back up at that $121,000 mark. Let's hop over to our economic calendar, see what we're looking at for this week. We do have a little bit of some heavy data coming out a little bit later in the week, but for the morning time, let's scroll on up there. We don't have anything too crazy coming out this morning. As you can see here, not a whole bunch of data from the US. We've got factory orders month over month coming out at 10 a.m. Not a massive market mover, but definitely something to keep your eye on. Was 8.2% prior, looking at negative 5.2% for that forecast. Definitely the wrong direction on that, but we'll keep our eyes, because that does kind of bode a little bit more towards that rate cut sentiment. Let's scroll on down, take a look at Tuesday, because Tuesday is going to be a little bit of a big day here. We do have imports and exports coming out of the United States, along with some other countries as well. Scrolled on down a little bit further, you get ISM services PMI. This is going to be a big market mover for the beginning of the week, looking like an increase on that. For the forecast was 50.8 prior and looking at 51.5 this time. To see that come in a little bit under that forecast is not too unexpected. The services sector has not been doing amazing, but to see some sort of increase does bode well for a little bit of some upside movement. Scrolling on down a little bit further, getting into Wednesday, we've got that 30-year mortgage rate applications. We will be watching that one quite closely. Housing sector hasn't been doing a whole lot of crazy moves in either direction, but to watch those continue to increase is not unexpected, as people are not buying as many houses as they have been, and we have been seeing the most houses on the market since 2019. Scrolled on down a little bit further. Where was that? I believe it was Thursday. We got some more heavy data coming out on Thursday. That will be continuing jobless claims, initial jobless claims, non-farm productivity, quarter over quarter and year over year. Scrolling on down a little bit further, we have a few Fed chairs starting to speak on Thursday, so that'll be something else I will be keeping my eye on for Thursday, getting some of that sentiment from last week's data, as we saw some very, very ugly data on Friday. Let's hop on over to the chats. We got several people in here this morning. Jesse Gluck sliding in first in the chats, saying good morning, BC, and he hopes everyone joins that Discord and has a good day, and said to like that on the way in. I appreciate you, Jesse, showing up bright and early and always doing your part to make sure this show runs smoothly. We've got all set in the chats, bright and early. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great day so far. Let's see what else we got. We got Dylan VA in here saying, hi all, have a good day. Well, we hope you have a great day here, Dylan VA. Let's see who else we got. We got Crypto Billy in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great day. Jesse dropping that 5-month membership emoji. I appreciate that there. And sticking around as we've been going through some changes here at the Piper Academy. We've got JR in the chat. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day. K Diggity coming on in bright and early as well, saying good morning, homeboys and homegirls. Well, I hope you're having a great morning so far, K Diggity. Hopefully we get some of that upside movement. We will kind of take a look at that chart here in just a second. Kyle Fields sliding on in here as well with the yo. Good morning to you. Let's see what we got. Jay Violet in the chats as well. Good evening to you, madam. Hope you had a great day. Let's see, anything else? Oh, Ada Ace in the chats. Good morning to you, sir. He said, drip, flip, hit main net on Cardano. Well, I'm guessing that was your project you had talked about a while ago, that gamified project there. So, congratulate you on that success there. He said, tune in to Strike Zone as well at 7:15 a.m. Hopefully that's Eastern time there. I will copy that link to your channel and drop it in the chat. If you're not following Ada Ace, you definitely should be. Gonna drop that in the chat for you over there on X as well. Hop over to his YouTube, give him a little bit of a subscribe. Go back and watch some of his content. That man is a beast on ADA. All right, let's dive into this chart. We are seeing quite a bit of some action on Bitcoin from Friday. We got that massive sell-off into our fair value gap that we had been hounding on for about 2 weeks. And then we got a little bit of some upside movement back into our fair value gap. We are seeing that top side of our golden pocket fib extension holding up quite nicely so far this morning as we've gotten back towards the middle of our fair value gap. You do have this daily looking like you could see a little bit of some pumping action, as we're seeing a little bit of some curvature here on our MACD, and we're seeing a little bit of some curvature here on our prime oscillator as well. The big problem is going to be your money flow here on the daily. Let's get that zoomed on in so you can see it a little better. We're sitting in that selling pressure area. We've got a little bit of some top side action to get to if we're going to see that flip on the daily. Would need to see that money flow coming in with some strength and bleeding on over into these higher term time frames. Let's zoom this on in. Take a look at this 4 hour here. 4 hour seeing a little bit of some rejection here off of the midline of that fair value gap. And that MACD and prime oscillator getting a little bit of some sideways momentum here as that money flow remains in the red. It's been in the red since our downside action on Friday. Your volume is holding up quite steady here, so it'd be very, very easy to see that volume coming in as some buying pressure if we see us holding up that price action back here at the top side of our golden pocket fib extension. We will kind of have to take a look at this shorter time frame, but that money flow is getting a little bit of some curvature here back to the downside, so we'll be watching that short-term money flow. We did start rejecting off that midline here this morning, and we'll kind of have to see what these shorter time frames look like. This 1 hour does look like you could see a little more downside this morning, but I am looking at that top side of the golden pocket fib extension. You would have a little bit of liquidity residing under those lows on the shorter term time frame, so we'll kind of have to keep our eyes on that for the morning, see if we can grab up some of that and then continue back towards the upside here. Hourly is looking a little bit toppy here. We did have some a poll in the chat. It was, is today going to be an up day or a down day? And so far, 80% are saying an up day, which I kind of agree with. You do have a little bit of sideways momentum here on your MACD, and your prime oscillator continuing to look to the downside as your money flow is holding up quite steady here in some light selling pressure. So we'll definitely be keeping our eyes on that very short-term money flow. Your volume is holding up extremely nicely as well. So to see that volume hold up quite steadily and see that switch over in a money flow on the shorter term time frame would really push us into some buying pressure here on the hourly and allow us to continue back up to the top side of that fair value gap at that 115,800 area. Let's zoom this on in, take a look at that 15-minute in the morning. We have been seeing a little bit of some sideways action on top of our golden pocket fib extension and looking to see if we can continue that bouncing action off of that again this morning. You do have that 15-minute and the morning on these oscillators looking a little bit toppy, but we've been seeing that kind of get a little bit of some bouncing action off of the golden pocket, and that gives us those switches. We have been kind of slowing up on that MACD's movement from the top side to the downside here as we consolidate on top of that golden pocket fib extension. So it would be nice to see that increase of volume come with a little bit of some money flow. That's some buying pressure here, looking to kind of cool those off just a little bit more as we're making that sideways momentum this morning. This is a nice little area to consolidate in. That top side, which we would like to see broken, is going to be 114,715. That's the midline of our fair value gap there. We did see a little bit of resistance on that area this morning, and we'll kind of have to see if we can get that price support at 114, almost to 300 there. That's the top side of that golden pocket fib extension, to see that continuation back up to 15,800. If we cannot hold that top side golden pocket fib extension, I would look back towards the bottom side here of our fair value gap coming in at 13,700. That's that area we had hounded on over and over again, and to see that hold us some support will definitely be a little bit bullish here. All right, we got any alt requests for the day? Go ahead, throw them in the chat. We will get to as many of those as we can. You guys, I closed half of my longs in profit last week, then had at loss. Now I'm two per exchange like a normal person. Well, good job there, JR. Hopefully some of that talking we did on Friday helped you out just a little bit. We will get you back to a decent amount of trades that you can actually pay attention to, and you're not getting overwhelmed there. You know, anyone can do 40, 20, 30, all of the trades and try to catch all of the moves. But if you get a decent trade with some decent leverage there, you can make the same gains as having 30 trades open. So just sticking to those key trades is going to be a whole lot more profitable than having all of those trades open. Let's see, we got Jesse saying ADA. Let's get that one added on the list. Crypto Billy wanting some AVAX. We can take a look at that one as well. And XLM, Jesse agreeing with that XLM. We can definitely take a look at that as well. Seeing some upside action on that XLM. Let's see what else we got in here. YouTube in 1990. No YouTube in 1999. Everyone agreeing that 1999 was a good year. I was only like 4 years old in 1999, so I don't remember it too well. But I do remember Saturday cartoons were absolutely fire in 1999. So that's about all I got for 1999. Oh, wow, BC, you front run me on that. I was searching for his channel. Oh, yeah, I've got a whole list of everyone's channels, so it makes it very easy to just share those on out, Jesse. I've got a big link, a big link file for absolutely any link that I regularly share. So, yeah, I do stay on top of that one. Let's hop over to some of these news articles. Oh, wrong one there. We've got the dollar steadies after a tumble as investors eye imminent Fed rate cuts. Let's scroll on down, get to some of these meat and potatoes. A battered dollar edged marginally higher on Monday after a dismal U.S. jobs report and President Donald Trump firing a top labor official stunned investors and led them to ramp up bets of an imminent Federal Reserve rate cut. Data on Friday showed the U.S. employment growth undershot expectations in July, while the non-farm payrolls count for the prior 2 months was revised down by a massive 258,000 jobs, suggesting a sharp deterioration in labor market conditions. Adding to the headwinds for the market, Trump fired Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner Erica McEntarfer the same day, accusing her of faking job numbers. Surprise, surprise, we've been talking about that one here on the Piper Academy for quite a while. I know Piper hounded on that and saying a lot of those job numbers were coming from the federal government. An unexpected resignation of Fed Governor Adriana Kugler also opened the door for Trump to make an imprint on the central bank much earlier than anticipated. Trump has been at loggerheads with the Fed for not lowering interest rates sooner. The barrage of developments dealt a 1-2 punch to the dollar, which sank more than 2% against the yen and roughly 1.5% against the euro on Friday. The greenback recovered some of its losses against the Japanese currency on Monday, last trading at 0.14% higher and 147.6 to the yen. Still, it was down about 3 yen from its peak on Friday. We'll take a look at that Dixie chart here in just a second, but you are seeing a little bit of some higher lows on that on the macro. Let's take a look at this one. We've got some stock earnings this week. Palantir is going to be the biggest of those. Earnings expectations are stratospheric as always. Not going to dive too far into this one, but if you've been paying attention to the Piper Academy, we've talked about Palantir quite a few times. They are a very big technology company that the government uses. So definitely we'll be keeping our eyes on that earnings report. We've got we've got Boeing Defense Union goes on strike. Scrolling on down here, thousands of machinists at Boeing Defense Hub in St. Louis area went on strike midnight on Monday, today, for the first time since the mid-1990s, marking a new spasm of labor unrest for the Seattle-based aerospace giant. About 3,200 machinists in Missouri and Illinois who built fighter jets and munitions voted Sunday to reject the latest contract offer from Boeing. The strike represents a fresh challenge for Boeing's chief executive, Kelly Ottberg, whose attempt to revive the fortunes of the beleaguered airplane company after a huge financial losses, production slows, and a string of safety issues, kind of similar to what we were seeing in the 1990s when they went on strike last time. A bit of underpaid workers, a lot of safety concerns, and they're kind of getting back to that point there. We are prepared for a strike and have fully implemented our contingency plan to ensure our non-striking workforce can continue supporting our customers, Dan Gillen, a Boeing vice president, said in a statement Sunday. We will be keeping our eyes on this one because this is quite a big news article, especially in that defense sector. There is quite a strong arm by the Boeing union. They managed to, kind of kowtow Boeing last time they went on strike, and we'll kind of have to see if they can do the same thing this time. A lot of their concerns are valid, especially when it comes to safety issues. Let's take a look at this last one. Zooming on in there so you can see it a little bit better there. ARK Invest buys 30 million in Coinbase shares and adds 17 million in Bitmine across 3 funds. Kathy Woods, ARK Invest, bought nearly 30 million worth of Coinbase shares and added 17 million of Ethereum treasury firm Bitmine shares across 3 of its funds. Kathy Woods led ARK Invest added to its holdings of centralized exchange Coinbase and Ethereum treasury company Bitmine Immersion Technologies with nearly 47 million of crypto-related purchases across 3 funds on Friday, according to the firm's latest trading disclosure. ARK Invest added 29.8 million worth of Coinbase shares to 3 of its funds on Friday, with ARKK accounting for 22.6 million worth. As of Friday's closing price, Coin shares fell 16.7% on Friday, according to the block's Coinbase stock price page, after weaker than expected quarterly earnings, leading ARK to buy the dip. We'll kind of have to take a look at that Coinbase chart here in just a little bit, but this is definitely a big move from ARK. Not too unexpected. They are very tech heavy and they do quite a bit of buying when you see massive dips, and a 16 almost 17% discount is quite a good discount when you're buying that Coinbase stock. We'll take a look at Coin as well. Let's see. JR saying, I was 2 in 86. I wasn't even born in 86, sir. You're a little bit old there. I tease. Let's see. We got Curtis Hill in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. Let's see what else we got in here. Did you change your background, BC, or are you just in your virtual living room? No, I did change my background. I liked the old one, but I felt like it was time to throw something new into that rotation. So you got a little bit of a let me do this. You got a little bit of a living room setup now. I got my gaming logo. I've got my BC Port Corp logo, and then we got some Bitcoin logos on there as well. So sticking with my theme of that neon colored, but I thought it was time to switch that on up. BC shops at Spencer's. I haven't shopped at Spencer's in so long, but no, I used to shop at Spencer's more than I probably should have. They've got some very, very nice flashy gear there. Let's see what else we got in the chats this morning. I'm just trying to make 2K a week simple, easy, low stress, but that's just me. Well, you're doing pretty decent on a lot of your trade calls there, Billy. So I'm sure that you're getting extremely close to that. So hopefully this bull market lets you get a little bit more of that goals hit when you're seeing those explosive moves towards the upside. Let's see, A to A saying looks more personal. Yeah, that was my goal on that background. I got my gaming logo here. There we go. I don't do as much on Twitch as I used to, but I also got the BC Port Corp logo there, and then my favorite Bitcoin logo that I've designed. So nice and neon there. All right, let's hop into some of these asset requests. We will definitely be taking a look at the dollar here extremely quickly, diving over into that Coinbase stock and then taking a look at those 3 alt requests we got. Let's see what we got here for that higher term time frame on the dollar. Taking a look this weekly. This weekly does look extremely nice for a little bit of some upside action here. Getting that zoomed on out a little bit better there. You can see we saw a bit of a downtrend after we got some rejections off of our 236, and we came all the way back down towards the mid area of our platinum pocket and our golden pocket. We did get a little bit of some rejections off of our golden pocket several times. Well, here's one, here's another, and then we got back up to it quite recently after some of that hopium on a rate cut. We will kind of have to see if we can get back above that 100.51, because that's that area for some short-term resistance before we can get back up to that 101 range where we see these very equal candle body tops. Let's zoom this on in. Take a look at the daily here. Daily is seeing a little bit of resistance at that 100.051. We've got some reversal signals starting to flash here on the daily. Not too unexpected, but you are starting to see that nice green candle start to print here, which could completely ignore some of these reversal signals. Oop. Let me get that switch back to the Dixie there. I accidentally hit that space bar, which changes your asset. You have been seeing a little bit of some sideways momentum underneath this golden pocket. We started making that higher low here, looking to potentially make our next higher low, and we're waiting to see if we can get back to the top side of our golden pocket and then back above this resistance area. You do have a little bit of an area above that where you could see some resistance coming in at that 151. Zooming on in a little bit further here, taking a look at that 1 hour. 1 hour has been trading extremely sideways as we're seeing that golden pocket come in as a little bit of some resistance here. You did end up getting a higher low here as well, so we'll kind of have to see if we can break above that golden pocket. Hourly doesn't look very overheated, but that MACD and prime oscillator both running a little bit sideways as your volume is a little bit low. Not too unexpected as that market is not open right now, so you've just been seeing a lot of trading from the European Union area and from that Asia and from those Asia markets as well. We'll kind of have to see if we get some buying pressure stepping on in when our market opens. I see lasers go pew pew in here. Good morning to you, sir. I see Donato Cabrera in here as well. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day so far. Let's zoom this on in. Take a look at that 15 minute moving extremely sideways as well. Does look quite nice that MACD is starting to restrict with that sideways action. We're making some higher lows here. We do see that sideways action right here on our MACD as well, holding quite close to our indicator line as we're waiting for some money flow and volume to step on in. Your prime oscillator is sitting in that light red, waiting for that money flow to really come back in to push us back above that golden pocket at 99.26. All right, let's hop over to Coinbase stock and take a look at that, because like a lot of your TradFi markets Friday, Coinbase, no differently, saw a massive sell-off. We did create a massive CME gap here. We'll get that colored correctly as we color our CME gaps blue around here and those fair value gaps purple. So let's get that colored on in, see what we might be looking at, if we can see some upside action. And then see what we might be looking at if we continue to see a little bit of some downside action here. You do have us closing one of these small CME gaps from back here. You've got another one directly below that we only saw some wicking action at. So we'll kind of have to see if we can find some support in these areas. Gonna be 294.54, where I'd like to see some bouncing action if we continue to see a little bit of some sell off on some Coinbase. Let me get that drawn out for you. That's going to be our short-term area there. We got some nice wick action off of the top side of that at 294.54. If we were unable to hold that, would look back down to our 236 and $276. That's that area to kind of watch for. We got a lot of some sideways action on the top side of that. Really saw that come into some resistance, and since we broke back to the top side of it, have not retested that as some support. BC helping me build a supercomputer so you guys can make fun of my degeneracy to my face. Well, I sent over that list to you, JR. If you need any other help, just let me know. Let's see. Stock market open, going to be interesting this morning with that big sell-off on Friday. Most definitely, that's why I will be watching that stock market this morning. Did do a little bit of some buying on Friday and might do a little bit more buying this morning before we really see those explosive moves, because we don't really have any heavy data to push things in either direction today. So definitely looking at a few buying opportunities. Might see it rip towards the upside a little bit more at that Tuesday data drop, depending on how that data drop comes out. Hourly here on Coin is looking extremely bottomy. You are making some lower lows still. As you can see, we broke towards the bottom side of those very equal candle bodies there. Get that zoomed in a little better so you can see it. Broke toward the bottom side of those very equal candle bodies, but you've got some very nice support back at that 310 area. Your pre-market is opening towards the upside back at the top side of those very equal candle bodies, so we'll kind of have to see if we can get that push back up towards our CME gap and see what happens at $335. I would look for a little bit of some resistance in that area unless you can see this money flow really getting that switch on that 15-minute time frame. Your prime oscillator is looking back towards the upside. MACD still pointing a little bit down, so we would need some nice strong money flow coming on in. That 15-minute looking a little bit toppy here as you're getting that curvature there. You do have a bullish divergence that is stacked up. Money flow still in the red on the short-term time frame, so we'll be keeping our eyes on that money flow this morning. Pre-market is opening towards the upside here, so waiting to see if we can get that continuation back towards our CME gap and then make a decision from there. Let's see what we got. It was a shopping spree Saturday. Oh, did Billy go spend some money in the markets? You scoop up some stuff at some decent prices there? Because I didn't do much buying in the crypto space, so I did my buying in the stock space on Friday. We've got gains for life in here. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day so far. Let's hop into some of these alt requests. You know what I already had pulled up in the background, because I've been watching ADA quite heavily here. We've got ADA pulled on up. This daily time frame is getting a little bit of some sideways momentum here on our MACD and our prime oscillator. Not seeing any reversal signals flash just yet, but we'll kind of have to watch that short-term money flow. We are bumping up against a short-term resistance area. Get this zoomed in a little bit more. You can kind of see that area I had pulled from. That was the top side of this giant red candle here. It was pulled from a shorter term time frame though, where we had probably some very equal candle bodies. You do see that sideways momentum here on our MACD line. Prime oscillator getting that sideways momentum as well. We'll just kind of have to see what that short-term money flow brings our way here. Let's just hop straight to the hourly there, because we got two more alt requests to really get through. You can kind of see this morning we've got some very strong we've got that resistance area coming in at that 74-cent point. You have made those very equal highs. One thing that very equal highs like to do is get swept, because there's probably some liquidity residing directly above those points. We have been cooling off those oscillators just a little bit with this sideways momentum on top of our golden pocket. We got that nice liquidity grab below it, and now we're waiting to see if we can get back above our short-term resistance at 74 cents and make our way back up to 76, about 77 cents there. That's where we see a lot of very equal candle body rejections off of. We see some nice support towards the upside as well. That's where this price tried to hold up at 76 cents as well there. So waiting to see if we can get above that strong resistance area. For the morning, we do have that 15-minute and the morning looking a little bit sideways here, as those oscillators have started to cool off their momentum, with that sideways momentum directly under our resistance area, continuing to make some higher lows here, just waiting on that money flow to really come back in, as we've got that nice curvature on our MACD and prime oscillator here. So watching that volume hold and that money flow kind of push us back above our short-term resistance would be something to kind of watch for. Seeing a little bit of some bouncing action on the top side as well, with how overheated this kind of looks on that prime oscillator, would be something to kind of watch for, and then see that continue up to 76 cents. Every time BC says liquidity, I think about the Vegas claw. Well, liquidity is a big part of trading here in your futures market. So I pay attention to that liquidity. I'm going to use that get swept. Well, that's kind of what happens, you sweep that liquidity. So get swept there. All right, let's hop into that AVAX chart, because AVAX has been on a tear, making big moves. We saw that platinum pocket bounce, which we had talked about, I believe, probably last week. So let's zoom this on out. Got quite a bit of some whipsaw price action here. We're holding up that platinum pocket quite nicely here. We did want to see 24.20 hold up as some support. I'm sure that is pulled from a shorter term time frame, but we continued on with some sell-off, just like the rest of our markets, so not too unexpected for that downside liquidity, that downside sweep, and some liquidity grabbing. There was some liquidity residing underneath these lows. We absolutely grabbed all of that liquidity, and then we got our nice strong platinum pocket bounce here. This daily does look quite nice for some continued upside if you can get that money flow coming on in here. MACD getting that curvature, prime oscillator getting that curvature as well. So we'll kind of have to see what our shorter term time frame brings our way. The claw is the claw of an owl. Oh, are you calling me wise there, Billy? Oh, when I heard claw, the only thing I thought of was Toy Story and all those little green aliens at the bottom, and they're like the claw. But yeah, I'm still a little bit of a kid at heart there. So let's take a look at this hourly. Jesse heading on out. Have an amazing day, Jesse. Oh, you're actually getting to go home? Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that. If you need anything, let us know in the Piper Academy Discord. We are there to keep you some company. I'm glad you're getting to head home after a long weekend in the hospital. Let's take a look at this hourly here on AVAX. We are seeing a little bit of some sideways momentum on our prime oscillator, looking to make a higher low here as we're waiting for some money flow to come on in. MACD getting a little bit of some curvature here as we're bumping up against very close resistance. We do have an area directly towards the upside of us that I would really like to see us get above, and that's $22.27 there. Let's get that horizontal ray drawn out as a short-term area to get above 22 25 is going to be that area to watch for AVAX on the short-term time frame to see if we can get above and really turn it as into some support. Like, why does being awesome cost money? I need to JR, always being that DGen in the chat. Well, everything in life costs money. So if you want to make money, you got to spend money. That's how that goes, sir. You got your 15-minute cooling off with a little bit of some sideways action on top of the highs from back here before we got our platinum pocket bounce. Let me get that short-term horizontal drawn out there. We'll just draw it from these lows here. So we'd like to see $21.71 hold up as our support area. We are making some higher lows and some higher highs here. A bit of some flagging action might lead to a little bit of some downside action for a very strong cool off of these oscillators before we see that push back towards the upside to $22.25. Let's take a very quick look at XLM, see what we're looking at for that, and then we will slide on over to that morning motivational video with Crypto Billy. Let's get XLM and see what we're looking at there. We got some nice bouncing action off of what was a resistance area here. Could definitely come back down, retest the midline of that big fair value gap there that we made directly on top of that. Let's get that drawn out extremely quickly. Top side wick coming in at 40.17. We've got your bottom side wick there coming in at 41.094. So we would like to see us test the middle area of this and then hold that as some support coming in at 40.4620. That is the midline of this fair value gap there. You can see we got some bouncing action off the midline of that already. We would really need this to hold as some support if you want to continue towards the upside there. If you don't hold that as some support, looking back at pretty much 40 cents on the dot there, and then trying to make our way back up to the 382 and 42.76. That's that area for the top side to really watch for. Hourly is moving a little bit sideways here, cooling off the prime oscillator, waiting for that short-term money flow. Let's get this pulled up. Take a look at that 4-hour there. 4-hour continuing to the upside. Would like to see a little bit of some cool off here on the 15-minute. 15 minutes got a bearish divergence pointing to the downside. MACD run a little bit sideways here, making a little bit of a lower high, but would at least need to see us hold up the midline of this fair value gap if we want to continue up to that 42-cent point. All right, it is 5:31. Time to head over to that morning motivational video. Tune in to the Piper Academy at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got Trading with OC at 8 p.m. Eastern Time as well. Make sure to trade safe. It will most likely be a volatile morning at market open. Make sure to use those stop losses. Make sure you tune into the rest of the Piper Academy so you get all of that knowledge, because knowledge is profit. And wake up, because today's going to be a good day.